Hello and welcome to Food Rebels. This is the podcast that brings you brands, chefs and live on-air tastings, and a show that's dedicated to the more rebellious side of the food world, where we celebrate people who have challenged the status quo. You know me, I'm the show host, AJ Sharp, taste expert, great taste food judge, business owner. And with me today we have our producer, Georgie Parsons. Welcome back, Georgie.
Hi. I could not be more excited about today.
Georgie's literally hopping from foot to foot right now.
And if you've listened to our Christmas special, you'll know why.
Oh yeah, we had caviar then, didn't we?
We did. I was championing it. So yeah, I'm very excited to be tasting some today.
So we are very excited because today we have Laura King from King's Fine Food. She is a caviar expert. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
I don't know where to start. Where should we start? Because right now in front of us, you might be able to see from the pictures on our social media, there is the most enormous tin of caviar in front of us. We're all slightly terrified because it's very high in value.
It is quite high in value. It's probably worth retail about £6,000.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So I'm going to make sure I don't drop it when we
Yes, please don't.
And it's all laid out over these beautiful ice things. Can you tell me just a little bit about why you started King's Fine? Did you start the business?
I started it, yeah. And I started as a journalist, actually, on the Middlesex Chronicle. And then they said when I did my indentures, my writing was turgid and wooden. So that was the end of my ability as a journalist. So then I used to buy aircraft spares for Qantas, seconded to Malaysian Airlines. Then I ran the European purchasing for Philippine Airlines. I had a buyer who bought caviar, went to Air Europe on their engineering side, and Air Europe went out of business. So I needed a job. So they'd already chosen someone, and I remember very cocky sort of saying, "Oh, you get me the interview, I'll get the job." So that was in 1991, a long time ago.
So you went from aviation to caviar?
To food, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and actually, to be honest, when I first started, I didn't like it. And they said, go and taste it. And I looked at it for 10 minutes thinking, that looks disgusting. But, why not? I started. And then it was quite successful. And I worked with them for 13 years. And they were W.G. White's, one of the oldest caviar companies in the world. They were taken over by a company called Ritter. And I didn't work for the then owner, didn't want to work for the then owner of Ritter. And at the time, my daughter Holly, who works in the business, she was 9, and my son Harry was 4. And I thought my surname is quite strong. Give it a go and go out on your own. So I did.
Wow.
And we were quite lucky. Almost immediately, Harrods and Fortnum's went out to tender. I went to meet Harrods, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but for certainly the first time it happened to me, I was so nervous I couldn't speak. When your mouth gets really dry and you're trying to tender and it was like my first day with my own business, and I thought, I'm never going to get the Harrods business. And I drove away, and then the buyer rang me and said, Laura, you've got the business. So we've had it ever since, 20 years. We've been in business 20 years.
Wow.
And then we went to Fortnum's. Fortnum's ran out of beluga caviar. They couldn't get it from the company I worked for. So I got the beluga, and we started with Fortnum's, and we've supplied them for the same length of time. So we're very lucky that we've had that business, both of them, for a long time. Very lucky.
So
wow.
Shall we start with what caviar is, where it comes from?
Sure. So caviar is the roe of the female sturgeon, and there are 29 different types of sturgeon, but primarily 8 or 9 that produce caviar. Caviar was always wild until 2008, so it was either Russian or Iranian caviar. That's where most of the caviar came from the Caspian Sea.
Yeah.
2008, CITES, who happened to come in for an unannounced inspection this morning, which is why I was slightly late, at King's, the reason they started to regulate caviar was to stop overfishing of the sturgeon in the Caspian Sea. So now if you import or export any caviar, you must have a CITES licence.
Right.
But going back to the original question, caviar is the roe of the female sturgeon.
Which is the fish eggs.
It's the fish eggs, yeah. It's the fish eggs.
And to get the caviar out of the fish, do you have to kill the fish?
You do,
Okay.
yeah. You can't, people say, there have been, companies that have said you can milk the caviar, But if you do that, you would have to inject the caviar with hormones, because naturally, if a sturgeon releases its eggs, when it releases to the bottom of the seabed, they're sticky. So you don't want sticky eggs. So you'd have to coat it in something. You'd have to inject it with hormones to get it to release the eggs. Hormones are not permitted in the food chain. So no, you have to kill the sturgeon. But they're all farmed. All caviar is now farmed. It's illegal to have any wild caviar.
Oh, really?
So it's all farmed.
Gosh,
so there's
interesting.
the Caspian Sea, I'm sure, is full of sturgeon, but it's illegal. And even Putin, I think years ago, they used to sell a lot of it. I've never bought Russian caviar because the quality isn't good enough, but they used to sell it in markets in Russia, and he sort of issued some sort of decree saying no more selling of markets, because they would eat it all themselves in Russia anyway.
So I grew up in Russia.
Did you?
And this is the reason I love caviar so much.
Wow.
Is because I grew up eating Russian caviar.
Wow.
And it was very much, you went to the market and it was under a table somewhere. You knew someone, and it got pulled up and slapped on the top, and a lot of behind the scenes of money passing, and it was not sold openly.
No. Why wasn't it sold openly?
I don't know. It was almost like a black market thing. I just seem to remember Mum like finding contacts, and I don't know. But it wasn't like, because we used to go shopping to lots of markets to buy all our food. But I seem to remember that the caviar was very much kept hush hush.
Yeah, and I think now you can't buy it. I mean, it's you can only buy it from much larger establishments. I'm guessing in Moscow. But that's where I've been to Russia and Iran fishing for sturgeon on the Caspian Sea, which is fascinating.
So where is your caviar from then, if it's not so not Russian?
Not Russian, not Iranian.
Not Iranian.
I would buy Iranian if I could, but they take the beluga too quickly, so the egg is very small. And I bought some, a couple of years ago, and said to them I must have a large egg. So I got an egg that was sort of 3.6 in terms of size, and when we got it, it was a big egg, but it tasted really bad, and I'd had to pay out front. So that was a bit disastrous.
So is that the age of the fish makes it bigger, or is it, how do you get a bigger egg?
No, it's genetic as well.
Okay.
So it would just depend on that particular fish, and all egg sizes are different. But primarily beluga, I mean, it is the biggest. A beluga sturgeon is 4 meters long, a ton in weight.
4 meters?
Yeah, it's huge.
So beluga relates to the fish, the variety of sturgeon.
So beluga, the Latin name is huso.
Right.
That's the species of the sturgeon.
Yeah.
As I said, 4 meters long, a ton in weight, very prehistoric in how they look. And they're farmed 12 years of age when they produce the eggs. So you've got to wait a long time. And people say, Laura, why is caviar so expensive?
Yeah.
It's expensive because you have to wait
For such a long time.
The quickest that any sturgeon will produce eggs is within 5 to 6 years.
So they must have quite a large space and area.
Yeah, huge.
For keeping
huge.
an animal that big.
Yeah.
If you think about the salmon farms,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they are really, really thrown in, aren't they? Very small, but they're a much smaller fish.
So Belgium, which is my preferred supplier, that's undercover. Most of their sturgeon are kept undercover, and it's huge, absolutely huge in terms of in terms of where they produce the sturgeon.
Why undercover?
To protect it, so that you don't get anything that falls into the water or could in any way damage the species, really. It's quite unusual to be undercover.
Yeah.
Kaluga Queen, who are the biggest producer in the world in China. I wasn't keen to deal with China for obvious reasons, and I couldn't ignore them. If we went to Paris now, out of 28 Michelin star chefs, 23 would produce Chinese caviar.
Wow.
It's really good. We're tasting some Chinese caviar today. My daughter Holly and Steph, who works with us running sales, they were in China recently. They took Harrods to China. I've been a number of times, and where they fish, Thousand Island Lakes in Hangzhou is the same size as Singapore, the lake.
Oh, wow.
That's huge.
So you actually think, so they have a good policy of looking after their animals, and you feel like it's very ethical and
yes, of course. I mean, I still worry because
Yeah.
it's China, but you can't, when something is so good, you can't ignore it. And of course, a lot of what, if we looked in this room, how much is manufactured in China?
Yeah.
Quite a lot. So
And then once you killed the fish, do you eat the rest of it?
So you could eat every part of a sturgeon.
Yeah.
So right down to the backbone of a sturgeon, the visiga was used by Escoffier to make, you'll be able to pronounce this, but kubliak, probably I said that badly, which is a Russian dish. So they use that as a type of gelatine. The bladder of the sturgeon, the findings are used in making beer. The meat, of course, is sold. The bones are used for glue. So every part of the sturgeon is absolutely used.
Oh,
Wow.
that's nice to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than just being,
Yeah.
thrown away.
And it is, and of course it's farmed as well. So
Yeah.
it's all farmed.
Amazing. Right.
It's incredible. And here you've brought in, is that 6 different varieties?
Yeah, I bought in beluga, which is the most expensive, as I explained, because you've got to wait
12 years
before it produces the eggs. Ossietra and golden Ossietra, where you have to wait 8 years. I bought in an imperial, which is 8 to 10 years, an Aquitaine, which is 5 to 6 years, and a Savruga, which is 8 years. And this is today I bought caviar from Belgium, China, and France. So we've got 3 different regions that we're going to taste.
And they all look so different. They're all different in colour, kind of size, the
Yeah.
size of the eggs, the density.
And
I had no idea there was such a range, I have to say.
Massive range. And I think probably one of the things you might notice is that they're one of the biggest enemies. I remember years ago going to the Savoy to see the chef. This is a long time ago. And he clearly didn't really want to deal with me. And I think put the caviar quite close to the radiator. The biggest enemy of caviar is heat. So it would just break up with the oil. And if you notice, there's no oil in any of this caviar.
So is that what to look for? If
Yeah, I think
if you were going to want to know how good quality your caviar is?
Absolutely not much in terms of oil. And then absolutely, you don't want any bitterness. A lot of people, if we went outside now and said, do you like caviar? Firstly, they'd say that red stuff, meaning it's keto or trout roe. And then they'd go, oh, no, it's bitter. That's because they've had lumpfish roe. So lumpfish roe is completely different to caviar. It's a completely different thing. So you want it to be subtle. Farmed caviar is very different to wild caviar in that you don't get such a depth of flavour. It's much milder in terms of flavour. But there is a difference. When we taste, there's definitely a difference.
Well, let's get tasting, shall we?
Yeah, where do we start?
Where do we go?
So you've both got a mother of pearl spoon.
Yes. So
Yeah.
tell us about this. Why mother of pearl?
We use mother of pearl or horn. If we used silver or gold plate, it would oxidise if you left it in the tin.
Okay.
So mother of pearl. I mean, some caviar companies use plastic, but I just think mother of pearl is a nicer sort of product to use. It feels lovely, and
It feels decadent, doesn't it?
It
does.
and this is
Love
the most
it.
expensive food in the world. So
Yeah.
I think it's lovely to do something.
It ought to have the
Very
correct
special.
things, shouldn't
Yeah, yeah. And how we're going to taste.
Right.
So we're going to take from each tin. We're going to start with the beluga. And you don't start with beluga because it's the most expensive, but in terms of taste,
Right.
it will be very subtle. And we always taste caviar on the back of our hand. So from the forefinger to the thumb, just here. And we do that because it's the best way to taste caviar. And you're not trying to taste it with anything else. I always remember years ago, Conran, when I used to supply Conran, and he said, "Oh, I love it with toast." And I used to think, "God, toast is awful."
Yeah.
Because it's
How to
really
ruin it.
crunchy, and how chopped egg, chives, lemon juice devised by the Americans to take away the taste of very poor quality caviar.
Oh, see, that's how we used to eat it
Russia.
on bellinis.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the chopped egg, onion,
Yeah.
caviar, sour cream. Or
So I think a bellini, warm bellini with sour cream or creme fraiche
Yeah.
and the caviar on top, absolutely delicious. But once you add onion,
I can tell it could take away a lot of the flavour.
oh, it would taste,
Yeah.
and then lemon juice would destroy it.
I
So
don't remember any lemon juice, but I
No.
definitely. I didn't actually eat the raw onion because I didn't like the taste of raw onion, so I would have probably had it more. But we definitely had it with some egg as well, chopped egg.
egg's good. So the other way to have it, a softly boiled egg, take the top off, and then put the caviar on the top of the egg
Oh,
and eat it like that.
amazing.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
This is crazy. You're tantalising us.
So funny. So we're going to start with the beluga.
Yep.
Huso, 12 years of age when it produces the eggs. And if you look at the colours, can you see that the beluga is the lightest grey?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's the largest egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Belgium. I think the Belgians are the best in the world for producing beluga. And I'm just going to taste a little. And when we taste on the back of our hand. Yeah, that's it.
And then just lick it.
Just let it breathe, and then just
Oh, that is
So
delicious.
quite a lot of salt initially, but it's very subtle, and it will just linger on the palate.
It's so unfishy.
Oh, it should not be fishy at all. The other thing you're going to notice, caviar has no smell, and that's a big thing. So if you get caviar that's bitter and it smells, then that's bad caviar.
It's not bitter at all. It's sweet and salty and creamy and rich and just, that is absolutely delicious. Actually makes my brain do a little funny tingling thing.
So that's beluga, typical of what you would expect of beluga. And the reason it's 3 times the price of any other caviar is that you've got to wait 12 years plus for it to produce the eggs. So next we're going to taste Ossietra. Ossietra is golden stardy. And we're going to taste one from Belgium and then one from China. And
that's interesting. So this first one, is this one from Belgium?
This is from Belgium.
So it's the slightly darker coloured egg.
Much darker. I mean, it's not very dark, not as dark as the Aquitaine, but it's heading towards that sort of steely grey. And that's very creamy, very subtle, very soft.
So you leave it in the crux of your hand.
Yeah, and just let it
in the
breathe,
base of your
and then-
thumb and your first finger.
Yeah.
Just let it breathe.
Yeah.
Because it feels cold, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Because
'cause
you've
it's
got it on
cold.
this lovely ice mat,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we've got it cold.
And
Then go for it.
They almost pop, those ones, in your mouth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely, you get a little burst of flavour as
Exactly.
each sort of,
Oh my gosh.
So the
such a lesson.
golden, this is from China. And as you can see, in terms of taste, it's much more golden. So slightly stronger on the palate, but a very lovely aftertaste.
So this is the Belgian one.
And that's Chinese.
Oh, this is
and
the Chinese one. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
and this
and
one
that's Belgium.
is a green,
Sort of gold, really.
gold, yeah,
gold.
goldy green colour. So if
So
I'd
we
been
would call
shown
that
that,
golden Ossietra.
I would have said that wasn't.
yeah, I would have said it's not caviar.
Caviar,
Of all the caviars you have in front of us, I'd have probably thought the darkest one, the Belgian Ossietra that we just tried, was the real caviar. I wouldn't have known.
That's interesting.
Lack of knowledge. It's a stronger taste profile, isn't it? There's more
Depth.
earthy notes in there.
Yeah, definitely. So then we're going to move on to an imperial. So an imperial is a Schwenki-Daricus sturgeon. This is from China. This is a firmer egg and a larger egg. Not quite as large as the beluga, but getting that way. And this in terms of taste.
So where's this one from?
This is from China.
Oh, this is from China as well.
Much firmer egg.
Oh yes, it's really sticking together. You
Yeah.
can see, it's not kind of falling
Oh, yeah.
apart on our hand. I mean, I never knew you had to eat it off your hand.
No. This is amazing. Imagine this at a drinks party. I'd throw my champagne over my shoulder.
Oh, completely different.
Yeah. Firmer egg.
Much
Yeah.
firmer.
Almost lemony as well, though.
I know what you mean. No, but there is
It's like a citrusy flavour. Something.
there's a lightness in there.
Yeah.
It's still creamy and rich, but there's sort of almost a slightly palate cleansing. Oh, it's lovely.
It's interesting because they're so unfishy, and I think that's what puts people off caviar.
Yeah.
Is they think it's going to be really overly fishy, but it's almost like an anchovy, but it's not like that at all.
not-
Isn't
no.
it? It's
Not at all, yeah.
delicate.
It's very subtle, isn't it?
It's very
so
delicate.
delicate.
Yeah. So next, we're going to move on to Aquitaine. Aquitaine is from France. It's the Barry sturgeon.
Oh, from France, so they
Yeah.
produce it as well.
They do in the region of Aquitaine. They do. And in terms of taste, that has a stronger taste profile,
And it's a darker
More-
grey, isn't it?
darker grey, and definitely a little bit more mackerel, a little bit more saline.
Now that one I'd say is a little bit more fishy, just because it's saltier almost.
Yeah, there is, like you say, a mackerel note, almost
Yeah.
like a smokiness there.
Yeah. And is that how you would expect caviar to be?
Yes, I think I'd definitely expect it to be more like that, a bit saltier than the early ones that we've tried.
Yeah, I thought the Ossietra felt to me like how I'd expect it. Like beluga, I have once tasted it before, been very lucky to. But no, the Ossietra I felt tasted how I expect caviar to taste. But,
Yeah, okay.
but beautiful, utterly beautiful.
I think the thing is that it should all, be sort of creamy, soft, subtle. There should be no surprises
Jolt.
when exactly.
Yeah.
It should just be very lovely.
I mean, it's been such a long time since I've eaten proper caviar. You know, I've just been eating the cheat stuff for such a long time now. But it's reminded me of why and how much I love it.
So this is Sevruga, this is Stellatus, this is from Belgium, and we couldn't buy Sevruga. You can only really buy it from Germany, and I was having great difficulty, this is quite a few years ago, buying it. And I said to the Belgians, I don't know what to do. They're very slow at supplying me. You know, I don't think they really want to deal with me. What do I do? And they said, we'll bring some fish in for you.
Oh,
So they started to farm Sevruga for me, which is great because they are very, very good at what they do. It's owned by someone, they're the biggest producer of chickens and fish feed in Belgium and flour. And then they have this amazing caviar company, but it's run by a husband and wife who are biochemists who are very good at what they do.
Yeah.
Really good.
And so who's your main customer? As in,
Harrods or Fortnum's.
is there a certain nationality or profile or who like it more than others?
I think the Brits definitely like caviar. I think there's no doubt about that. And I think then if they've got European, if it's Harrods, they've got European or Arab people going into the store, then definitely they would, they would want to buy it for sure. And Europeans, of course. But the profile particularly would be for perhaps Qatar or somewhere else would be buying caviar. But we had a request once from Nairobi for 600 tins of beluga the next day.
Oh, wow.
Goodness.
Which was really quick. We could have done it in about a week, but we couldn't have done it the next day.
No.
Which was sad because we didn't ultimately get the business. So the last one we're going to taste is Sevruga stellatus.
Yeah.
And this is the one I said that we now buy from Belgium.
Yeah. That's a totally different.
It's a much stronger flavour,
much
isn't
stronger. Yeah.
Much stronger, much more salt.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about Sevruga, lots of salt. And, I like Sevruga, but it does have an awful, huge amount of salt.
Yes, I get that. I could only eat that in kind of small quantities. I think that one, whereas the other ones, I feel like I could eat in much larger quantities.
But I feel like with the Sevruga, I know we're supposed to eat it on our hand, but people do put it on bellinis.
Of course. And if you add it
to something else,
Perfect.
that would stand up to something else that had quite a
flavours.
powerful
Yeah.
or, a medium flavour profile. Whereas I think, the beluga, it would be sacrilege to put it on anything because it's so mild, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so subtle. And I think that's the difference as we've gone down. That's why we taste in the way we do. So we taste in terms of the taste experience and obviously finish with something that is much stronger, which, is an interesting way to taste. So I was going to invite you to try more because we're going to end the tasting by pairing it with something quite unusual.
Okay.
So would you like to just dig in and have some more?
Yeah. Which one are you going to choose?
I'm going back for the Ossietra.
Okay.
I loved
Let me
it.
pass that one.
Or the Imperial.
The Imperial. One that kind of stuck together. Okay.
I love this. I love that I might from now on know which type of caviar is my favourite. I'm the sort of person who knows.
Right, are we eating it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Ossietra.
My mum, she once bought some back and she was going to having a dinner party. I know for some reason the dinner party got cancelled, so she had this huge amount of caviar. And so she thought, I can't let this go to waste. So sat down and ate a vast quantity of caviar.
Did she?
And woke up the next morning with gout.
Did she? That's hilarious. That's so funny. So we're going to finish the tasting by tasting it with Amadei white chocolate. This is something that Heston Blumenthal did at the Fat Duck. And I think, as I understand it, a restaurant very close to his copied it within 2 or 3 weeks. So he took it off the menu.
Oh, okay.
But we always finish a tasting with it. One of the other things that I forgot to say, actually, if you want to sort of see a film about caviar, we often show the Gordon Ramsay film. And it was made for the F Word, but it's very good. So you see, the pictures of the sturgeon and how they fish, how they gut the sturgeon, how they process it because they sieve it, they wash it in cold water. And this large 1.8 kilo tin that we've got here, which is like a sort of small dinner plate, all they do to that is add salt and then put the lid on and press it down. So there's no vacuum. It's just
Wow.
the oil and the band around it keeps it.
Keeps it its shape.
Yeah, keeps it in good shape.
Okay, so what do we do?
So we're
we
going to take
grab
a white chocolate, and then we're going to
Great.
just put it.
Any of them, or do you go for a particular? Any of the caviars, or do you go for a particular?
Always Savruga.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is a white chocolate button with the Savruga on top.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I didn't know what I was going to expect, but
I quite like it.
it is, I like it too. I feel a bit wrong saying I like it though. It's the sweet and sugar, it's salty and.
Did you eat your button?
Yeah, I did. I had a.
Oh, you got two. Okay, fine.
I picked up two by mistake. Yeah, it's like that.
Sort of
I'm going to go
salted.
again.
But it goes
Salted
salty
caramel.
and then it goes and then it goes sweet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Going to try another one.
Almost want to get the chocolate button going first and then add the caviar in.
Or what? Melt it slightly in your mouth.
Yeah. This might be my favourite ever show. Just saying. I don't know how good it is to listen to, but I'm
I
having
know.
such a lovely time.
It must be more difficult to, because you're trying to imagine it, aren't you? If you're sitting at home.
Well, don't imagine it. Go to King's, find
Come to
foods,
King's, yeah.
buy. I mean, how much are these the smaller tins?
No, the smaller tins. If anyone sort of contacts me directly, Laura King, and it's laura@kingsfinefood.co.uk. I think I've got that right. Then I will make sure that the listeners get very good pricing, and 10% of our net profits go to the brain tumour charity that I set up 7 years ago, the John King Brain Tumour Foundation. So that's a lovely thing, that we sell the most expensive food in the world, but that we can give something back because the story of the brain tumour and how it affects families is very close to us. So that's really important for us as well.
Well, you've obviously done some really special things for that charity to have been awarded an MBE. I think that's
amazing.
incredible.
Very, very lucky. And we have the Royal Warrant, but we've just applied again because we had it for the Queen. So we've applied again for
you
the
have to
King.
reapply, do
We
you?
do.
Does he have to taste everything?
Is
Is it a bit like Great Taste, but with the King?
I don't think he tastes things, but
Do
I
you think we could get that job?
think you have to be born as a Mountbatten Windsor. But
I think he
But we
likes.
could do the tasting for him and then tell him which ones to go for.
I think he likes caviar, so that's good.
just incredible.
I know. I think I want to take that large kilo and go and sit on the sofa.
See if you can give yourself gout.
Exactly.
Oh, this is wonderful. I actually think we've come to the end of the show, though,
I
unbelievably.
know.
Laura, thank you so much for
Pleasure.
bringing in this beautiful, beautiful caviar. It's been,
Such a treat.
I feel like
Such
I'm
a treat.
walking on a cloud or something.
Glad you both enjoyed it.
Yes, so
really
much.
good. And thank you, Georgie.
Well, anytime I get to come and taste caviar, I'm here.
Yeah, amazing. You've been listening to Food Rebels, which is available on radio stations around the UK. You can also listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and Audible. Please remember to subscribe and rate us with 5 stars. We're also on Instagram @food_rebels_. Give us a follow. And if you'd like to come on our show, do get in touch. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you taste the rebellion.